Let's talk about the history of tarot. Where did it come from? What's it about? Where did it all start? What are the roots of these cards? And we're just going to go into a history in brief. So the origins are dated back to the 1400s, and this is when the first documents of tarots, is what they were called back then, tarocchi cards. This is when they first surfaced, and they surfaced in Italy, and they were primarily made in the 14th century as a game for the courts. So when I say courts, that's the kings, the queens, the knights, everyone who came together in the palace as a game to play, similar to bridge, if you've heard of that, or any other sort of game that requires people coming together. There's a spread of cards, there's an essence of livelihood and joy or celebratory, and this is what cards were used for. And they didn't have actually very many divinatory meanings then. It was just a game. And then we get to midway through the 15th century, and actually in the book Gargantua by F. Rabelais, they reference the tarots. It says it's the favorite game of the protagonist in his book. So they have been circulating around, which led us to believe that they had made it to France because this book was written by a Frenchman. So this is actually quite a popular book. It's quite famous and shows that the tarot game, the tarot cards, were highly revered in maybe more of the upper class communities, people who had time to play, probably a bit more wealthy, or in the courts. Gentlemen, ladies, they played this game. And then in 1660, so as you can see, we've got some big chunks in time evolving here. It's pretty much a century apart, all of these evolutions. In 1660, the cards were printed, and they were destined to be spread all over Paris. So now they're really taking over Europe. From Italy, France, Paris, they're spreading and spreading as this game. And I really find this interesting to share because a lot of us think that the tarot first came in as this very esoteric study, but actually it wasn't until later on that it became esoteric. In the beginning, it was purely a game. And of course, there were probably subtler meanings going on, but it wasn't seen as such a serious fortune-telling craft. So yeah, it's not until the end of the 17th century, 1784, that there was an archaeologist who started finding a deeper meaning to the cards, started researching and studying, and found links to Egypt. And if you've heard of Thoth, he's the ancient god of wisdom. And they found a lot of relation to him with these cards through the pictures and the meanings. And this is where cartomancy, which is the depiction of the cards, started to come more into play. So it's really not until the 18th century, 1863, when initiatory meanings are revealed. In the Masonic lodges, the esoteric, it really starts picking up. And this links up to the timing as well, where there was a lot more happening with spirituality. If you look in our history with witchcraft, all of these sorts of things became much more relevant during these time periods. So in 1910, Arthur Edward Waite published the Rider-Waite deck, and the Rider-Waite deck is probably one of the most recognized decks of tarot. And the meaning and the divination just kept getting stronger and stronger. So now where we currently are, from the 1900s to now, we have seen this rapid increase in the pursuits of wisdom and fortune-telling through the tarot cards. And, it's an important question to ask ourselves when we see tarot has such a diverse history, very playful, and then very divine. So which one is it? Is tarot, is it, a game and not to be taken seriously? Or is it a very divine prediction and divination of your life? Well, truth is, the choice is yours. The cards were designed as a game, and over time, a deep meaning was discovered. However, the power is not in the cards as much as it is within the reader. So the power lies in the reader, and I really want to stress this because if we want to get the most out of this course, and if we want to get the most out of tarot cards, we have to know that the power, the generator behind the cards is you, or whoever's doing the reading for you. This is purely the essence of tarot. It is in the person. The history of these cards is very rich, very interesting, very fascinating. But you know what? It's not really imperative to know the history. You're not going to find, who knows what you'd find online, but you're not going to find someone who gives you the exact step-by-step history of why the tarot cards can tell you that they will predict your future accurately. It's not what it's about. It's a game, and it's a game that can be used very constructively, very wisely, and with a lot of impact on your life in a positive or negative way. And if you want it to be in a positive way, then that solely depends on your intention and beliefs. So if you believe you can use the tarot and receive wisdom and guidance, you will. And if you're a disbeliever, although I have had many readings over my 5 to 10 years now reading tarot, I have had readings with disbelievers who are absolutely shocked. So the power really is in the person reading the cards, and I want you to know that wherever you're coming from, tarot has something to give, and don't be afraid to just embrace it as something that's fun. It doesn't have to be extremely serious. It just has to be intentional. So here's a little history on tarot. Now let's jump into the good stuff and learn how to actually start understanding the cards.